Yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. I want to talk about the hypocrisy of Jagmeet Singh. Now, we all know he's a hypocrite. We all know Jagmeet Singh hasn't done a darn thing to benefit Canadians in his entire tenure. In fact, many would debate that he has spent his entire time in politics merely cushioning his pension. He wants his golden parachute before leaving office, and he has no issues when it comes to coalition governments, no issues running against Canadian citizens while still pretending that he actually cares about the general needs of Canadians. Well, today I want to talk about a little bit of Jagmeet Singh coming out when we talk about the current corruption levels that are happening in our government. And I'm going to have other videos getting into that stuff. We've had videos talking about that, but this, of course, is a hot button issue. We're going to be talking about it for a little while now as things unfold. But of course, it says here, hashtag powerful. Jagmeet Singh says he's so disgusted that Justin Trudeau knew about foreign governments interfering in Canada's democratic process that he's going to vote non-confidence and trigger an election. This was in March of 2025. Now, the reason I'm showing this is because, well, we've seen the Auditor General now come out and talk about collusion or false contracts going out or favoritism going out when it comes to McKinsey. We've seen reports coming out about the collusion with foreign entities and having foreign spies move in on certain political candidates and foreign interference. And again, all of that's going to be questioned. I say it's treason. But what's funny is that anytime this kind of thing happens, you're going to see Jagmeet Singh come out and say, I damn Trudeau. I condemn everything they've done. I don't stand with what they're doing. But the problem with that, Jagmeet, and the hypocrisy of it all is that you continually prop up Justin Trudeau in order to think that you have some level of power. Now, I've said multiple times, this is somebody who's sitting at the children's table, pulling on dad's coat, saying, let me sit with the grown-ups, and being told no. Jagmeet Singh keeps thinking he's going to get that seat at the adults table, and Justin Trudeau kind of, yes, yeah, we'll talk about it, and we'll get to it, Jagmeet. And then, of course, he never gets in there. He gets shut down. He just doesn't clue in, and now he's so knee-deep in it that he has to run out the clock in order to get his pension. He's never going to get what he wants. We've seen this earlier week. Of course, it says the federal NDP want a price cap on grocery store staples. Liberals say it won't work. So again, the Liberals flat out saying, we're not going to work with you, Jagmeet. We're not going to do what you want. So why does he continue to prop this up? Well, because the only other solution is to call an election. He knows, I know, you know, that if he calls that election, not only is he costing several MPs their pensions, but he won't get his either. None of them will get reelected based on today's polls. It says here the federal NDP want a price cap on grocery store staples if the Liberal government can't convince grocers to bring down the prices themselves. Again, I would question what the validity is of whether it's certain grocers, because again, Jagmeet Singh's brother works for Metro Inc., which is another grocery store. Doesn't seem likely that Jagmeet Singh would want that business affected. Says some countries in Europe have implemented similar measures, and while it's something Industry Minister Francois Champagne said he was looking into, he doesn't think it's a good idea. You have commodities which are traded on a global scale, so think about sugar, think about wheat, what you can at the price in that particular region, he said on Tuesday. I think it's the better way to do that is putting pressure on the grocers, on large manufacturers around the world, and bringing more competition. So essentially, you guys be poor. We're not going to do it. We're not going to be the bad guys. For months, the Liberals have been trying to get big grocers in Canada to sign a code of conduct they say will bring down the food prices for everyone. Now, Marty up north broke this down ages ago, and we talked about it months ago, that when you look at Loblaws, they're always talking about Galen Weston Jr. They're talking about how much profits Loblaws makes as a company every year. Oh, look, they made increased profits. Well, of course they made increased profits, but they've also had an increase in operating costs. They have to pay carbon taxes just like the rest of us. They have to pay for overhead. They have to pay for staff. They have to pay the increased price in food and products to bring in their stores. Now, profits and dividends are two different things. Now, I would be curious for the government to come out and start blaming Galen Weston on his dividends. I'm not saying the guy's poor by any stretch of the imagination, but what I'm saying is that when you factor in the profits versus the cost of operating, their profits haven't increased as much as the Liberals lead on. I think that something needs to be done about the grocers. I think something needs to be done about the government. But what I'm saying is it's not all black and white. It says for months the Liberals have been trying to get We went with the code of conduct. He said, I think it would help us shake up the market and bring better prices. Some food costs have recently eased due to a decline in inflation. Of course, we saw the Bank of Canada lower key interest rates by 0.25% this week. But it says the New Democrats say prices have not dropped nearly as much as they've seen risen in the past 3 years. Well, you printed money during the pandemic. You've overinflated the economy. Justin Trudeau said it best. I don't concern myself with monetary policy. When you don't do those things, when you're not responsible, this is the end result. This is how things operate. You have a carbon tax that's punishing suppliers, it's punishing farmers, and now it's punishing consumers. It's a moot point and a moot argument when you prop up a liberal party and refuse to force an election in order to axe the tax. Some food costs have recently eased, but they accuse grocers of being greedy. We're talking about an essential basket of goods that should be affordable for Canadians. And we want to force grocery stores to do that. Otherwise, we will impose a price cap. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh proposed last Tuesday. Again, they're not going to do that. They're not. The Liberals won't do it. This is, again, little child strutting around saying, I'm big boy. I can sit at the adult table, and the adult's telling him, no, sit down, go home, you're drunk. It's not going to happen. His party currently is a non-binding motion with the House of Commons that calls for such a measure, but is most likely not to pass. Not only are Champagne and his fellow ministers opposed to the idea, but the Conservatives are too. If sellout Singh was truly invested in bringing down food prices, the NDP would support the Conservatives' quest to get rid of the carbon price. Conservative spokesperson Sebastian Skamiski said Tuesday. Or Skamsky, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that last name. Conservatives have been laser focused on their axe the tax approach to improving affordability by scrapping the price of carbon, key liberal environment policy. Grocery prices have risen globally since 2021, driven by supposed climate change, inflation, geopolitical risks such as Russia's war with Ukraine in Canada, and a lack of competition among grocers. This, of course, coming from outlets that want to talk about these issues. None of it has. It comes from an irresponsible government. It comes from printing mass amounts of money, overstimulating the economy with people not putting back into it, bringing in hundreds of thousands of immigrants with no jobs, nowhere for them to go, nobody to work, enforcing carbon taxes that again punish the working class, that punish the farmers, punish the truckers that bring the food. We've heard Pierre talk about it time and time again. We don't need to go through that cycle, but you guys get it. You get how it works. And you get why, again, anytime Jagmeet Singh opens his mouth, and I've said this multiple times before, you can't do nothing more than hit the mute button. You can't do anything more than take him as a joke. Again, the child wanting to sit at the grown-ups table. The hypocrisy is completely baffling to me that at any point Jagmeet wouldn't have got his act together and maybe tried to cut a deal with Pierre in order to better his party's name, in order to take a switch from the Liberals while still trying to maintain his seat in the House of Commons. I think if he'd have done this 6, 8 months ago, even a year ago, you would have seen support for the NDP for those who are diehard supporters that are now starting to lean conservative merely because they're seeing no efforts put forward other than the NDP propping up the Liberals. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you find it funny about Jagmeet's hypocrisy? Do you think he's ever going to get a clue, or do you think he's just going to ride this out? I think he's going to ride it out, but I think he doesn't have a choice at this point if he wants his pension. He's kind of looking at glass half full kind of situation. Let me know your comments down below. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're clicking that bell clicking the bar, you hit the bell for notifications. Join us live here on the channel every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific for Friday Night Fringe, our live show where we talk about all the things happening in politics, all of the back and forth that goes on, and a little bit of chatter amongst the community. It's always great to hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos. I always appreciate everybody who's there, everybody who chimes in, and listening to what you have to say. I look forward to it very much, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there every single Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.